Oslo, Norway's heart, a unique capitale, starts journeys. Oslo is where the old stories of Viking explorers blend seamlessly with the rhythm of a modern, forward-thinking nation. It is a city that faces the fjord on one side and mountains on the other, giving it a character that is both urban and deeply connected to nature. When you arrive in Oslo, you feel a sense of calm mixed with excitement, as if the city itself is whispering, "Adventure begins here." The first thing that strikes you about Oslo is its clean, contemporary design. Walk along the waterfront, and you'll encounter the striking Oslo Opera House, a masterpiece of modern architecture that seems to rise from the waters of the Oslo fjord like a gleaming glacier. Its sloping marble roof invites visitors to climb and gaze out at the water, with sailboats gliding by and the city's skyline stretching into the distance. This is a symbol of Norway's ability to merge culture, art, and environment into something uniquely its own. But Oslo is not only modern, its roots reach deep into history. Venture into the Viking Ship Museum, and you stand before actual Viking longships, over 1,000 years old, once used to explore, raid, and trade across seas. These ships, preserved with astonishing detail, tell the story of fearless adventurers whose legacy still pulses through Norwegian identity today. To look at them is to see both. From the age of Vikings, Oslo takes you through the centuries, with landmarks like Akershus Fortress, a medieval castle overlooking the harbor. Built in the late 13th century, it has guarded Oslo through war and peace, standing as a reminder of resilience. Today, its stone walls and towers provide not just history lessons, but panoramic views of the city and the fjord, as if history itself is watching over Oslo's future. Yet, Oslo is not a city that lives in the past. It thrives in the present, pulsing with creativity and innovation. The Barcode Project, a row of ultra-modern skyscrapers with glass and steel facades, symbolizes Norway's future, where design and sustainability go hand in hand. Art is everywhere. From Gustav Vigeland's extraordinary sculpture park, with over 200 human figures carved in stone and bronze, to the Munch Museum, home to Edvard Munch's world-famous painting, The Scream. Oslo is a place where creativity is not confined to galleries. It lives on the streets, in the parks, and even in the architecture itself. But perhaps what makes Oslo so unforgettable is its closeness to nature. Few capitals in the world offer such seamless access to wilderness. A short ferry ride from the city center takes you to islands scattered across the Oslofjord, where you can picnic on sandy beaches or hike quiet trails. In winter, the surrounding forests and hills transform into snowy playgrounds, where locals ski and sled just minutes from downtown. Oslo is a city where life in the urban core and life in nature are never far apart, and that balance defines the Norwegian way of living. Food in Oslo adds another layer to its story. From Michelin-starred restaurants that reinvent traditional Nordic flavors to cozy cafes serving cinnamon buns and coffee, the culinary scene is both refined and comforting. Fresh seafood, reindeer dishes, and local farm-to-table creations give visitors a taste of Norway's landscapes on a plate. Even a simple hot dog, enjoyed at a stand on Karl Johans Gate, feels like part of the city's character, unpretentious, satisfying, and tied to tradition. Walking through Oslo, you'll find contrasts that somehow fit together perfectly. Historic streets like Damstredet, with its cobblestone charm, meet futuristic buildings of glass and steel. Peaceful parks like Frogner blend into busy urban districts full of energy and life. And always, the calm blue of the fjord frames the city, reminding you that nature is never far away. For many travelers, Oslo is just the beginning of their Norwegian adventure, the first taste of a land filled with fjords, mountains, and Arctic wonders. But Oslo itself deserves time. It is more than a gateway. It is a destination rich in stories, from Vikings to modern visionaries, from medieval fortresses to cutting-edge design. To walk its streets is to walk through time, to witness a nation's spirit in stone, water, and art. As the sun sets over the Oslofjord, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink, the city lights begin to glow. Music spills from cafes, The opera house shines like a beacon on the water, and the mountains in the distance fade into twilight. In that moment, you realize Oslo is not just the start of a journey through Norway, it is a journey in itself, one that stays with you long after you leave. There are landscapes that silence you at first sight, places so vast and breathtaking that words fall short. In Norway, these places are the fjords, carved over millions of years by glaciers. The fjords are nature's cathedrals, towering walls of rock rising from deep, still waters, waterfalls tumbling down sheer cliffs, and tiny villages clinging to the shoreline like jewels in a crown. Among them, two names stand as icons of beauty: Geiranger and Nærøy. These fjords are not just destinations, they are living masterpieces, etched into the earth with a grandeur that few places on the planet can rival. Geiranger Fjord is often called the crown jewel of Norway's fjords, and from the first moment you set eyes on it, you understand why. Its waters are a deep, reflective blue, mirroring the dramatic cliffs that rise more than 1,000 meters on either side. From those cliffs, waterfalls plunge in ribbons of silver, among them the famous Seven Sisters, a group of 7 delicate streams that cascade side by side into the fjord below. Across from them is another fall known as the Suitor, said to be a man forever frozen in pursuit of the sisters. These legends give Geiranger not just beauty, but a soul, as though the landscape itself holds stories whispered by the water. At the edge of Geiranger lies the village of Geiranger, small yet world-renowned. Nestled at the fjord's end, it seems like something from a dream, surrounded by mountains and framed by waterfalls. Visitors come here to breathe in the crisp air, hike trails that reveal panoramic views, and experience the fjord from every angle. One of the most famous viewpoints is Ørnesvingen, or the Eagle's Bend, a serpentine road that climbs into the mountains, offering a vista so sweeping it feels as though you've stepped into a painting. From up here, the fjord stretches like a ribbon of sapphire between towering peaks, its surface broken only by passing ferries and kayaks gliding quietly through the water. While Geiranger dazzles with its dramatic scale, Nærøy captivates with its intimacy. A UNESCO World Heritage Site, Nærøy is one of the narrowest fjords in the world, at times less than 250 meters wide. Here, the mountains lean so close to the water that it feels like you can reach out and touch them. The experience of sailing through Nærøy is unlike anything else the world closes in. The cliffs soar nearly vertical, and waterfalls crash down with such force that the sound echoes between the walls of rock. It feels otherworldly, a place where time slows and nature's presence is overwhelming. Tiny villages dot the shores of Nærøy, adding to its charm. Places like Gudvangen, often called the place of the gods, feel timeless, surrounded by towering cliffs and misty peaks. These settlements are reminders that people have not only visited these fjords, but have called them home for centuries, living in harmony with landscapes that are as beautiful as they are harsh. Even today, life here feels connected to the rhythm of the fjord. Simple, quiet, yet profoundly rich in meaning. For travelers, exploring the fjords is a journey of both awe and serenity. You can sail their waters on a cruise ship or a small ferry, hike mountain trails that open to sweeping vistas, or even kayak across the glassy surface, surrounded by cliffs that dwarf you into insignificance. Each experience offers a new perspective from the water. You see the sheer scale of the cliffs. From the mountains, you see the fjords stretching endlessly into the horizon. And everywhere, the sense of peace is unmatched, as if the fjords are sanctuaries carved by nature itself. What makes these fjords so extraordinary is their ability to change with the seasons. In summer, their slopes are green with life, dotted with wildflowers and mountain farms. Waterfalls thunder from melting snow, filling the air with mist. In autumn, the cliffs turn to gold and crimson, their reflections painting the fjords in fiery hues. In winter, snow blankets the mountains, and the fjords take on a stark, icy beauty, silent and majestic. Each season transforms the fjords into a new masterpiece, proving that true wonders are never static, they are alive, always evolving. But the fjords are more than just natural wonders. They are also a deep part of Norway's identity. For centuries, they have been lifelines, providing routes for travel, trade, and connection in a land where mountains made overland journeys difficult. Today, they are symbols of Norway's heritage, celebrated in art, music, and folklore. To Norwegians, the fjords are not just scenery, they are part of who they are. Standing on the edge of a fjord, whether it is Geiranger with its sweeping grandeur or Nærøy fjord with its intimate embrace, you cannot help but feel humbled. These landscapes remind us of the power of nature, of its ability to create beauty on a scale that dwarfs human imagination. They are places of reflection, where the silence of the water and the majesty of the cliffs make you pause, breathe, and simply exist in awe. As the sun sets over the fjords, painting the cliffs in shades of gold and casting a shimmering path across the water, you realize that this is more than just a destination. The fjords of Norway are a journey into wonder itself, a reminder of how small we are, and yet how deeply we are connected to the beauty of the earth. Some cities feel like they belong to the present, while others seem timeless, as if they exist in every era at once. Bergen, Norway's second largest city, is one of those places. Known as the Gateway to the Fjords and the City of Seven Mountains, Bergen is more than a stopover on the way to nature. It is a destination that captures Norway's essence in one breathtaking blend of history, culture, and scenery. The moment you set foot here, you feel the pull of its charm. Colorful wooden houses lined along the waterfront, mountains rising protectively around the city, and the unmistakable scent of sea air carrying centuries of stories. At the heart of Bergen lies Bryggen, the UNESCO-listed wharf that has become the city's most iconic landmark. These vibrant wooden buildings, painted in shades of red, yellow, and ochre, line the harbor just as they have for centuries. Once home to merchants of the Hanseatic League, Bryggen was the beating heart of trade in northern Europe. Walking between the narrow alleyways and creaking timber structures, you feel history all around you, whispers of German traders, bustling markets, and ships arriving with goods from across the world. Today, the old warehouses have been transformed into shops, cafes, and galleries. Yet the spirit of Bergen's maritime past lingers in every beam and every cobblestone. But Bergen is not a city frozen in history. Its cultural life is vibrant and alive, pulsing with music, art, and festivals. The city is famously home to composer Edvard Grieg, whose music captured the essence of Norway's landscapes. His home, Trollhaugen, still stands just outside the city, inviting visitors to walk through the gardens where Grieg found his inspiration. Bergen also hosts one of Europe's biggest annual cultural events, the Bergen International Festival, where art, theater, and music take over the streets and stages, filling the city with creativity and joy. What makes Bergen even more unforgettable is its relationship with nature. Surrounded by 7 mountains, the city seems cradled in a protective embrace of green and stone. Trails wind up into the hills, offering hikes for every level of adventurer. One of the most popular journeys is up Mount Fløyen, where a funicular railway carries you to a panoramic viewpoint overlooking the city, the fjords, and the sea beyond. On clear days, the view stretches endlessly, a tapestry of water, islands, and peaks. But even in the mist and drizzle weather, Bergen is famous for the sight is mystical, as if the clouds themselves are wrapping the city in a soft shroud. For those seeking an even higher perspective, Mount Ulriken, the tallest of Bergen's 7 mountains, delivers a challenge and a reward. Whether you hike its trails or ride the cable car, reaching the summit gives you a breathtaking view of the fjords stretching like fingers into the horizon. Standing here, with the wind on your face and the city spread out below, you understand why Bergen is called the Gateway to the Fjords. From this vantage point, it is as if the city is the threshold between civilization and the raw grandeur of nature. Bergen's soul is also deeply tied to the sea. The bustling fish market near the harbor has been a cornerstone of the city for centuries. Here, fishermen sell their fresh catch salmon, cod, shrimp, and even delicacies like whale meat directly to locals and visitors. Tasting the seafood here is more than a meal. It is an experience that connects you to the rhythms of the ocean, to the lives of fishermen who have braved Norway's waters for generations. The flavors are as fresh as the fjord breeze, and they tell the story of Bergen's maritime heritage in every bite. What makes Bergen so special is the way it weaves together contrasts. It is both old and new, a medieval trading hub and a modern cultural capital. It is a city alive with festivals and student energy, yet surrounded by mountains and fjords that bring peace and serenity. Rain is almost constant here, yet it is part of Bergen's charm, the way the wet streets glisten, the mist curls around the mountains, and the colors of Bergen glow even brighter under gray skies. It's no wonder the people of Bergen wear their city's rain as a badge of pride, embracing the weather as part of their identity. For travelers, Bergen offers not just sights, but feelings. To wander Bergen's wooden alleys is to step back in time. To stand on Mount Fløyen is to see the world from above. To taste seafood at the harbor is to savor the essence of the sea. And to hear music drifting through the streets is to feel the heartbeat of Norwegian culture. As evening falls, the city glows softly, the lights of Bergen reflecting on the harbor, boats swaying gently in the water, and the mountains fading into the twilight. Bergen feels alive, yet peaceful, bustling yet intimate. It is a place where history is preserved, where culture thrives, and where nature embraces every street and every soul. And so, as you leave Bergen, you realize it is more than a city. It is an experience, one that stays with you, like the lingering sound of a violin, the smell of sea salt on the air, and the sight of colorful houses standing proudly against the rain. Bergen is not just the gateway to the fjords. It is the heart of Norway's story, beating strong at the edge of sea and mountain. Some places feel like they belong to another world. The Lofoten Islands in northern Norway are one of those places, a dreamlike landscape where towering granite peaks plunge straight into turquoise seas, where tiny fishing villages cling to rocky shores, and where the light itself feels magical, shifting from golden midnight sun in summer to shimmering northern lights in winter. Lofoten is not just a destination, it is a living painting, a place so breathtakingly beautiful that it almost feels unreal. As your journey begins, the first thing that strikes you is the raw contrast. Jagged mountains rise dramatically from the ocean, their sharp silhouettes cutting into the sky. At their base, small red and yellow fishermen's huts, known as roerbuer, sit on stilts above the water, reflections dancing on the waves. These huts once sheltered fishermen during the cod season, when the Lofoten waters teemed with life. Today, many have been transformed into cozy guest houses, allowing visitors to live, even for a moment, as the fishermen once did close to the sea, surrounded by nature and embraced by silence. Lofoten's villages feel like stories frozen in time. Brain, often called the most beautiful village in Norway, is a cluster of houses nestled between soaring peaks and sapphire waters. Every view feels like a postcard, a harmony of mountains, sea, and human life balanced in perfect proportion. Then there is Henningsvær, a fishing village spread across small islands connected by bridges. Known as the Venice of Lofoten, Henningsvær is both charming and lively, with art galleries, cafes, and one of the world's most picturesque football pitches, perched right at the edge of the ocean. But Lofoten is more than its villages. It is a landscape that invites exploration and adventure. Hiking trails lead to spectacular viewpoints, each more dramatic than the last. The climb up Rheinbringen, though steep and demanding, rewards you with one of the most iconic views in all of Norway, a panorama of jagged peaks and emerald fjords stretching endlessly beneath the open sky. From above, the islands look like scattered jewels, fragments of a dream cast into the Arctic Sea. The beaches of Lofoten are another wonder. It may seem surprising that in a land so far north, you find stretches of white sand and crystal clear water that look more like the tropics than the Arctic. Places like Haukeland Beach and Utterkleiv Beach glow in the summer sun, their waters reflecting shades of blue and green. Though the water remains icy cold, the beauty of these beaches draws travelers from across the globe who come not just to swim but to feel the surreal contrast of Arctic landscapes meeting tropical colors. What makes Lofoten truly extraordinary, however, is its relationship with light. In summer, the midnight sun never sets, bathing the islands in a golden glow that lasts all night. Imagine standing on a mountaintop at midnight, the sun hovering just above the horizon, the world bathed in soft light that feels eternal. It is a moment that defies time itself. In winter, the islands transform into a stage for one of nature's greatest performances. The northern lights, waves of green, purple, and pink dance across the Arctic sky, reflecting in the waters below, a reminder of how wild and magical our planet truly island. For centuries, the heartbeat of Lofoten has been fishing. Every winter, millions of Arctic cod migrate to these waters, creating one of the world's most important fisheries. The tradition of stockfish cod dried on wooden racks in the crisp Arctic air dates back over 1,000 years and is still central to Lofoten's identity. Walking through the villages, you see rows of fish drying in the wind, a timeless ritual that connects the present to the Viking Age. To taste stockfish here is to taste the history of Norway itself. Yeah, Lofoten is not only about tradition, it is also about harmony with nature. The islands are home to seabird colonies, seals, and even orcas and sea eagles. Kayaking through the fjords, you might hear the cry of an eagle overhead, or spot a seal slipping quietly into the water. This connection to wildlife, to sea and sky, deepens the sense that Lofoten is a sanctuary not just for people, but for all life. Traveling through Lofoten feels like moving through a dream. Each bend in the road reveals a new wonder, a hidden cove, a dramatic peak, a fishing boat returning with its catch. The islands change constantly with the weather, too. In sunshine, they gleam in colors so vivid they seem painted. In mist, they become mysterious, their mountains rising like ghosts from the sea. Even in storm, when waves crash and winds howl, Lofoten is fierce and unforgettable. And when the day comes to leave, you realize something profound. Lofoten is not a place you simply visit. It is a place that imprints itself on your soul. Its beauty lingers in your memory like a song. Its light stays in your eyes long after the journey ends, and its silence calls you back, again and again. The Lofoten Islands are not just among the most beautiful places in Norway. They are among the most beautiful places on Earth. A meeting point of mountains and sea, of tradition and wonder, of light and shadow. A reminder that sometimes the most magical worlds are not imagined, they are real. Waiting quietly at the edge of the Arctic Circle, there are landscapes that silence you, that strip away words and leave only awe. The Geiranger Fjord is one of those places, a masterpiece of nature carved by ice and time. A fjord so breathtakingly beautiful it feels like the heart of Norway itself. Standing at its edge, you don't just see a view. You feel an ancient force that has shaped the land for millions of years. This is not simply a fjord. This is Norway's jewel, one of the most enchanting wonders in the world. The Geiranger Fjord is a branch of the Great Storfjord, stretching for about 15 kilometers into the western mountains of Norway. From the moment you enter, the world seems to close around you. Towering cliffs rise straight out of the water, their faces streaked with waterfalls that cascade down in white ribbons. The fjord is narrow and dramatic, a cathedral of rock and water where nature feels magnified, larger than life, more powerful than imagination. Among its many wonders are the waterfalls that have become legends in their own right. The Seven Sisters, perhaps the most famous, tumble gracefully from the cliffs in 7 parallel streams, dancing like strands of silver hair in the wind. Directly across lies the Suder, a single bold waterfall said to be forever gazing at the sisters from across the fjord, locked in a silent love story told by the mountains themselves. Then there's the bridal veil, thin and delicate, spreading like a soft veil of mist across the rocks. These waterfalls are not just water, they are poetry in motion, stories whispered through time. But Geiranger is more than its waterfalls. Along its steep cliffs lie the remains of ancient farms, clinging to impossible slopes where families once lived, farmed, and survived. Knivsfjord and Skagafjord are among the most famous, perched high above the fjord, accessible only by steep trails or boat. Imagine the courage it took to build a life here, where every step was a balance between survival and danger. Today, these farms stand as reminders of resilience and of the deep connection Norwegians have always had with their land. One of the best ways to experience Geiranger is by boat. As you glide along the emerald waters, surrounded by vertical cliffs and the sound of cascading water, the world feels otherworldly. The silence between the waterfalls is profound, broken only by the distant cry of a seagull or the gentle hum of the engine. Looking up, you see snow still crowning the peaks even in summer, while below, the fjord mirrors the sky. It is as if you are floating through a dream, suspended between earth and heaven. From above, the view is equally unforgettable. The Eagle Road, a winding stretch of hairpin turns carved into the mountainside, climbs to a dizzying viewpoint known as Ørnesvingen, or Eagle's Bend. From here, the fjord stretches out like a painting deep blue waters, emerald forests, white waterfalls, and scattered villages, all framed by towering peaks. Another iconic viewpoint is Dalsniba, nearly 500 meters above sea level, where you can gaze down on the entire fjord and the tiny village of Geiranger nestled at its head. From this height, the fjord feels like a secret world, a treasure hidden deep in the mountains. And yet, Geiranger is not only about what you see, it is about what you feel. The air here is crisp and clean, carrying the scent of pine and sea. The scale of the cliffs and the stillness of the waters make you feel both small and deeply connected to something greater. Every sound echoes differently in the fjord. The rush of a waterfall, the call of a bird, the whisper of wind moving across the peaks. It is as if the fjord has its own heartbeat, a rhythm older than humanity, steady and eternal. Geiranger is also a place of change. In summer, cruise ships and boats bring travelers from all over the world, eager to witness its beauty. The fjord glows under the midnight sun, the waterfalls full and alive with melting snow. In autumn, the forests blaze with color, turning the mountainsides into tapestries of gold and red. Winter cloaks the fjord in silence, its waterfalls freezing into icicles, its waters still and dark, its mountains capped with deep snow. Every season brings a new face, a new mood, a new wonder. But perhaps the most powerful experience is standing at the water's edge during sunset. As the sun dips low, the fjord glows with a golden light. The cliffs turn shades of amber and crimson, and the waterfalls shimmer like molten silver. The still waters reflect the sky, doubling the beauty, creating a moment so surreal it feels eternal. It is here, at sunset in Geiranger, that you truly understand why this fjord is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, because it is not only a natural wonder but also a cultural treasure, a place where human history and raw beauty meet in harmony. To journey through Geiranger Fjord is to step into a fairy tale. Every bend of the fjord reveals a new wonder. Every waterfall tells a story. Every viewpoint opens a window into eternity. And when you finally leave, you carry with you not just images, but feelings, the awe, the silence, the connection, the timelessness. The Geiranger Fjord is not just a jewel of Norway, it is a jewel of the earth. A reminder that the most extraordinary wonders are not built by human hands, but shaped by patience, by ice and water, by time itself. To see it is to witness perfection in nature, a perfection that humbles and inspires, that makes you fall in love with the world all over again. There are wonders on this earth that can be explained by science, yet when you see them with your own eyes, they feel like pure magic. The Northern Lights or Aurora Borealis are one of those miracles. In Norway's Arctic skies, they swirl and dance in colors that defy imagination, painting the heavens with curtains of green, purple, pink, and blue. To stand beneath them is not just to witness a natural phenomenon, it is to experience something otherworldly, something that connects the earth to the cosmos. This is the celestial dance of Norway. The northern lights are most often seen in northern Norway, above the Arctic Circle, where the polar night wraps the land in darkness for long months. Tromsø, Alta, Lofoten, and Svalbard are some of the best places to chase the aurora, each offering unique landscapes to frame the spectacle. Imagine standing on a snowy field in Tromsø, with mountains surrounding you, and suddenly the sky begins to shimmer. At first, it's faint, a green ribbon appearing across the horizon. Then, as if awakened, it grows stronger, spreading into flowing waves, twisting and turning in silence. The sky is alive, and you are at the center of its stage. For the Sami people, the indigenous inhabitants of northern Norway, the northern lights are more than just beauty. They are woven into myth and legend, a sacred presence in the sky. Some stories say the aurora is the energy of ancestors. Others describe it as the breath of spirits dancing across the heavens. Even today, locals treat the lights with respect, some believing you should never whistle at them, for it might draw their power too close. Whether you see them through science or legend, the feeling is the same: awe. Scientifically, the northern lights are born from the interaction between solar winds and the Earth's magnetic field. Particles from the sun collide with atoms in the atmosphere, releasing energy that becomes light. But no explanation can capture what it feels like to see them move. Unlike a sunrise or a rainbow, the aurora is not still. It shifts, it dances, it surprises. Sometimes it's gentle, like a brush stroke across the night. Other times, it explodes in waves of light that ripple across the sky like a storm of color. The chase itself is part of the adventure. Nights in northern Norway are cold and dark, but that's where the magic begins. Wrapped in thick coats, travelers set out on husky sleds, snowmobiles, or even reindeer-drawn sleighs, guided through frozen landscapes under star-filled skies. Each moment is filled with anticipation. Will the lights appear tonight? Will they dance or stay quiet? And when they do appear, all the waiting is forgotten. The silence of the snow, the cold air on your face, the sound of sled dogs breathing, all of it becomes the backdrop to a cosmic performance. Tromsø, often called the gateway to the Arctic, is one of the most famous places to see the aurora. Surrounded by fjords and mountains, it offers a perfect stage for the lights. Alta, known as the City of the Northern Lights, has centuries of history tied to the phenomenon, including the world's first observatory dedicated to studying the aurora. The Lofoten Islands, with their jagged peaks rising from the sea, offer dramatic coastal views where the lights reflect on the water. And Svalbard, far to the north, gives the chance to witness the aurora even in daytime during the long polar night. Each location adds its own dimension, its own poetry to the experience. What makes the Northern Lights unforgettable is not just the sight, but the feeling. Standing under a glowing sky, you realize how small you are and how vast the universe island. You feel a connection to the earth, to the stars, to time itself. Travelers often describe it as spiritual, even life-changing. It is a reminder that there are still mysteries in our world, moments that cannot be controlled, only witnessed. And yet, the aurora is also fleeting. It doesn't appear on command. It can vanish as quickly as it arrives. Sometimes it dances for hours, other times, only minutes. This unpredictability is part of its power. You cannot schedule wonder. You can only be there, waiting, open to it. And when it comes, you know you've seen something that belongs not to you, but to the universe. The memory of the Northern Lights stays long after the colors fade. You carry it with you, a light inside, a story you will tell again and again. The shimmer of green across the Arctic sky, the silence of the snowy landscape, the sense of being part of something eternal. In a world where so much feels ordinary, This is extraordinary. Norway's northern lights are more than a natural wonder. They are a dance of energy, of science and spirit, of earth and sky. They remind us that beauty does not only exist on the ground we walk, but also in the heavens above. To see them is to witness the universe in motion, to feel wonder in its purest form. And in that moment, standing beneath the aurora's glow, you understand why people from around the world come here, chasing the light that turns night into magic. There are places that feel like the edge of the world, wild, dramatic, untouched, and almost too beautiful to be real. The Lofoten Islands are one of those rare wonders, rising sharply out of the Arctic waters. Their jagged peaks look like the spine of a sleeping dragon stretching across the horizon. Here, sheer cliffs drop straight into the sea. White sand beaches glow under midnight sun, and tiny fishing villages cling to the shore with bright red houses mirrored in glassy fjords. The Lofoten Islands are not just a destination, they are a dreamscape at the very edge of the Arctic. What makes Lofoten so extraordinary is the drama of its landscapes. Towering mountains rise directly from the ocean, their dark granite faces softened by snow in winter and green meadows in summer. Between them lie deep fjords, crystal clear waters, and valleys that seem carved for fairy tales. The combination of mountains and sea, of raw wilderness and human settlement, creates a scene so striking that artists, photographers, and travelers have been drawn here for centuries. Every corner feels like a painting waiting to be framed. The islands have long been shaped by fishing, especially the cod trade. Even today, racks of drying stockfish line the villages, their silhouettes etched against the sky, a timeless image that has remained for generations. Villages like Rain, Hamnøy, and Awe are famous not only for their beauty but also for their heritage. The red roerbuer, or traditional fishermen's cabins, now welcome travelers, offering a chance to live like those who braved these seas long ago. Imagine waking up in a cozy cabin, the sound of waves outside, and jagged peaks glowing in the early Arctic light. It is a harmony between nature and tradition that defines the Lofoten experience. But Lofoten is not just about quiet beauty, it's about adventure. In summer, the islands bask under the midnight sun, when daylight stretches for weeks without end. You can hike mountain trails at midnight, paddle a kayak through turquoise waters, or cycle along winding coastal roads with the sea on one side and cliffs on the other. Hikes like Rain bring and reward you with views that leave you breathless. Fjords, islands, and fishing villages spread out like jewels scattered across the sea. In winter, Lofoten transforms into another world. The snow falls, the peaks turn white, and the northern lights begin their dance. Few places on Earth combine the aurora with landscapes so dramatic. Imagine standing on a frozen beach, the waves crashing against the shore, and above you, the sky exploding with green and purple light. It feels like nature's most spectacular theater, where sea, land, and sky all perform together. One of the most unexpected wonders of Lofoten is its beaches. Haukeland, Utøya, and Kvalvika are Arctic beaches that look like they belong in the tropics with golden sands and turquoise waters. But here, instead of palm trees, you have towering cliffs and snow-dusted peaks as your backdrop. Walking barefoot on these sands under the midnight sun is an experience that feels both surreal and unforgettable. Wildlife also thrives here. The waters around Lofoten are home to orcas, humpback whales, and sea eagles, adding another layer of magic to the islands. Bird cliffs teem with puffins in summer, while the fishing boats still bring in their daily catch, continuing the traditions that have sustained these communities for centuries. The rhythm of nature and human life is deeply intertwined here, reminding you that survival in Lofoten has always depended on respecting the forces of the sea. What truly sets Lofoten apart is its mood. The shifting Arctic light paints the islands in different tones throughout the day and year. Sometimes the sea is calm and glassy, reflecting the mountains perfectly. Other times, storms roll in from the ocean, waves crash against the cliffs, and the sky darkens in dramatic shades. The islands are never the same, twice. They change, they surprise, they challenge you to see them anew. To visit Lofoten is to step into a world where nature is raw and uncompromising, yet stunningly beautiful. It is a place where time seems to slow, where you can sit on a dock in a tiny fishing village and watch the mountains fade into mist, where you can stand on a cliff and feel the endless ocean stretching before you. It is a place that makes you reflect on your own smallness and the power of the earth itself. When you leave the Lofoten Islands, you carry more than just photographs. You carry the memory of sharp peaks rising from the sea, of fishing cabins glowing under northern light, of golden beaches kissed by Arctic winds. You carry the silence of fjords, the roar of waves, and the dance of the aurora. You carry the feeling of standing at the edge of the world, where beauty is both fierce and fragile, and where every moment feels like a gift. The Lofoten Islands are not just Norway's wonder, they are one of the wonders of the earth. A place where the wild spirit of the Arctic is captured in every mountain, every wave, and every sky. And once you've seen them, they never truly leave you. Some roads are not just a way to get from one place to another, they are destinations in themselves. The Atlantic Road in Norway is one of those rare journeys, twisting across the ocean, leaping from island to island. It feels less like a highway and more like a ribbon of asphalt laid across the waves. Named the world's most beautiful drive, this engineering marvel is where human design meets the raw power of the sea, creating one of the most unforgettable travel experiences on Earth. The Atlantic Road, or Atlanterhavsveien, stretches just over 8 kilometers, but in that short distance, it delivers some of the most dramatic scenery you will ever see. Connecting the towns of Kristiansund and Molde, it weaves across a series of small islands and skerries, linked by 8 bridges that seem to defy the ocean itself. The most famous of these is the Storsøysundet Bridge, an elegant curve of concrete that rises like a wave, creating the illusion that it launches straight into the sky. From certain angles, it looks impossible, almost surreal, as if the road itself is daring you to follow it into the horizon. Driving the Atlantic Road is an experience of contrasts. On calm days, the sea lies still, reflecting the sky like a mirror, and the journey feels almost peaceful. But when storms sweep in from the Atlantic, waves crash against the bridges, spraying water into the air, and the road becomes a front-row seat to the fury of nature. Few roads in the world let you feel this close to the elements, where the line between land and sea blurs and the ocean seems to breathe around you. But the Atlantic Road is more than just a drive. It's a journey through culture and landscape. Along its route are small fishing villages, harbors, and lookout points where you can pause to take in the vastness of the sea. Tiny islands, dotted with traditional wooden houses, stand as reminders of the generations who lived here, surviving on what the ocean provided. The road doesn't just connect land, it connects history, communities, and the unbreakable bond between Norwegians and the sea. One of the best ways to experience the road is to stop along the viewpoints built into its design. Elevated platforms and walking paths allow you to step out of the car and feel the Atlantic winds on your face. From here, the horizon stretches endlessly, dotted with islands, waves, and seabirds gliding above. The scent of salt fills the air, and the sound of the sea surrounds you, reminding you that this is not just about seeing, it's about feeling. The Atlantic Road is also a paradise for wildlife enthusiasts. In summer, seals can often be seen basking on the rocks, while whales occasionally surface offshore. Seabirds circle the cliffs, their cries carried by the wind. The combination of engineering, scenery, and living nature makes the road more than just infrastructure. It's part of an ecosystem designed to exist in harmony with the ocean it crosses. For many, the most magical moment comes at sunset. As the sun dips low, the sky turns shades of orange, pink, and gold, and the road seems to glow against the dark blue of the water. The curves of the bridges become silhouettes, and the reflections on the sea create a double horizon, making it feel as though you are driving through a painting. Under the midnight sun in summer, that glow lingers for hours, stretching the journey into something timeless. The Atlantic Road is often described as a roller coaster, not because of its speed, but because of the emotions it stirs. Awe, wonder, thrill, even humility in the face of nature's power. It is both a triumph of engineering and a tribute to the wildness of the Norwegian coast. No matter how many times you travel it, the road never feels the same twice. Calm seas, crashing storms, glowing sunsets, each drive offers a new performance, a new chapter in the story of ocean and land. What makes the Atlantic Road unforgettable is its symbolism. It represents the Norwegian spirit, the ability to live in harmony with a harsh environment, to build not against nature but alongside it. It is a reminder that the journey can be as meaningful as the destination, and that beauty can be found even in the most unexpected places, like a road carved across the open sea. When you finish the drive and look back, the Atlantic Road seems almost unreal, as if it were a path into another world. The bridges arch across the water like brushstrokes on a canvas, blending engineering with artistry, daring with humility. And whether you cross it once or many times, you carry with you the memory of being so close to the Atlantic's power, of driving a road that belongs as much to the sea as it does to the land. The Atlantic Road is not just a marvel of Norway, it is a marvel of the world, a place where asphalt and ocean meet, where every curve is a thrill, and every wave reminds you that this is no ordinary road. This is a wonder carved not only by human hands, but also by the sea that surrounds it. Imagine a land where the sun doesn't set for months, where glaciers stretch to the horizon, and polar bears outnumber people. This is not a scene from a fantasy novel. This is Svalbard, Norway's frozen frontier. Remote, mysterious, and breathtaking, Svalbard is one of the last great wildernesses on Earth, a place where nature reigns supreme, and every moment feels like stepping into another world. Svalbard lies halfway between mainland Norway and the North Pole, an archipelago of dramatic mountains, endless ice fields, and seas that remain frozen much of the year. Life here is shaped by extremes. In summer, the midnight sun bathes the landscape in golden light around the clock, while in winter, the polar night brings months of darkness, illuminated only by the ethereal glow of the northern lights. This stark rhythm of light and dark makes Svalbard unlike anywhere else on Earth, a place where time itself feels altered. The heart of human life here beats in Longyearbyen, the northernmost town in the world. Despite its remote location, it is a surprisingly vibrant community, home to researchers, adventurers, and people drawn by the allure of life at the edge of the Arctic. Wooden houses painted in bright colors dot the snowy landscape, standing as beacons of warmth in a land dominated by white and blue. From here, most journeys into Svalbard's wilderness begin, and each journey feels like an expedition into the unknown. But Svalbard's real wonder lies beyond its settlements, its untouched wilderness. Towering glaciers carve through valleys, slowly shifting and cracking as they move toward the sea. Jagged mountains rise sharply, their black rock contrasting with the bright snow that clings to their slopes. And on the drifting sea ice, the true rulers of Svalbard roam the polar bears. Known as the kings of the Arctic, these magnificent creatures embody the raw, untamed spirit of this place. Seeing one in the wild is not just rare, it's unforgettable. A reminder that this is their world, and we are only visitors. Wildlife in Svalbard is both abundant and extraordinary. Walruses haul themselves onto icy shores, their massive tusks glinting in the Arctic light. Reindeer, adapted to the extreme cold, wander across the tundra. Arctic foxes prowl silently, their white coats blending perfectly with the snow. And offshore, the waters teem with life seals, whales, and countless seabirds, all thriving in one of the most fragile yet resilient ecosystems on the planet. Perhaps the most magical experience in Svalbard comes at night, under the shimmering curtains of the aurora borealis. In the silence of the Arctic, the northern lights ripple across the sky in waves of green, purple, and gold, a natural performance unlike anything else on Earth. It is a reminder that the Arctic is not barren. but alive with energy, beauty, and mystery. Svalbard is also a place of scientific importance. Its location makes it an ideal base for Arctic research, from climate studies to astronomy. It is home to the Svalbard Global Seed Vault, a facility designed to protect the world's crop diversity, hidden deep inside a mountain. This doomsday vault symbolizes humanity's attempt to safeguard the future, fittingly placed in a land that already feels timeless and eternal. Traveling through Svalbard requires respect. The environment is extreme, and survival depends on preparation and knowledge. Yet, for those who venture here, the rewards are unparalleled. Few places allow you to feel so small, so humbled, and so alive at the same time. In Svalbard, every breath of icy air, every crunch of snow beneath your boots, every distant crack of a glacier shifting under its own weight reminds you that you are standing in one of Earth's last wild frontiers. What makes Svalbard unforgettable is not only its landscapes or its wildlife, but its ability to make you reflect. Here, surrounded by vastness and silence, you realize how fragile and precious our world truly island. The Arctic is changing, glaciers are retreating, ice is thinning, and the future of its wildlife is uncertain. To stand in Svalbard is to witness beauty and urgency at once, a call to protect places like this before they fade away. As you leave this icy paradise, you carry with you not just the memory of its sights, but the feeling of its spirit, wild, pure, untamed, and eternal. Svalbard is not just a destination. It is an experience of the soul, a reminder that our planet still holds wonders so powerful they leave you breathless. In Norway's crown of natural treasures, Svalbard shines as the most remote jewel, a land where the Arctic reveals its secrets, where the wilderness speaks louder than words, and where every moment reminds you what it means to truly encounter the wild. Imagine looking up at the night sky and seeing it suddenly come alive, glowing, shifting, and dancing in colors so vivid they seem otherworldly. Green waves ripple like curtains in the wind, streaks of violet arc across the horizon, and golden sparks pulse in silence. This is no dream. This is the Aurora Borealis, the Northern Lights, Norway's most breathtaking natural wonder, and perhaps the greatest light show on Earth. The Northern Lights have fascinated humanity for millennia. In Norway, they are not just a spectacle, but part of the nation's identity, deeply tied to culture, folklore, and even survival. In ancient times, the Sami people, the indigenous inhabitants of northern Norway, believed the aurora carried spiritual power. Some saw it as the souls of ancestors watching from the heavens, while others treated it with reverence, believing whistling at the lights could summon them closer. To this day, the Northern Lights feel like a sacred reminder that nature has forces beyond our understanding. Norway is one of the best places in the world to witness this phenomenon, thanks to its position within the Arctic Circle. Towns like Tromsø, Alta, and Kirkenes are world-renowned destinations where travelers gather under the polar skies, waiting for the first flicker of green to appear. But the true magic of the Northern Lights lies not only in seeing them, but in the experience that surrounds them. Imagine standing on a frozen fjord, the snow crunching beneath your boots, the air crisp and silent, and then suddenly, the sky begins to move. At first, it's faint a glow on the horizon, but within minutes, it grows, twisting and shimmering, filling the heavens in a dance of light that leaves you speechless. The science behind the aurora is as fascinating as the sight itself. Solar winds, carrying charged particles from the sun, collide with Earth's magnetic field. As these particles interact with gases in the atmosphere, they release energy in the form of light. Oxygen creates shades of green and red, while nitrogen brings blues and purples. It is, in essence, a cosmic ballet, the sun and Earth working together to paint the sky. What makes Norway unique is not just its location under the auroral oval, but its pristine landscapes that frame the light so beautifully. Fjords, snowy mountains, frozen lakes all become stages where the aurora performs its silent dance. For travelers, chasing the Northern Lights is as much about the journey as the destination. Some choose to ride sleds pulled by huskies across snowy plains, the aurora flickering overhead, Others sail into the Arctic waters on cruises, where the dark skies offer perfect viewing conditions. Adventurers may even stay in glass-roofed igloos or wilderness cabins, lying in bed as the lights swirl above them. No matter the setting, the moment the sky ignites is one of pure wonder, something no camera or description can truly capture. Yet, the northern lights are elusive. They don't appear on command. Sometimes, travelers wait for days, scanning the skies, only to be rewarded with the faintest glow. Other times, they burst forth in waves so brilliant they seem to envelop the entire world. This unpredictability makes the experience even more powerful. To witness the aurora is not just to see a natural phenomenon, but to feel chosen by it, as if the universe has granted you a rare glimpse into its secrets. The aurora also reminds us of nature's fragility. As the climate warms, weather patterns shift, and the Arctic landscape changes, the conditions that make this spectacle possible may one day be altered. For now, Norway remains one of the last sanctuaries where the aurora continues to shine in all its glory, a timeless dance that connects us to the cosmos. What makes the Northern Lights so unforgettable is not just their beauty, but the emotion they stir within us. Standing beneath them, you feel small yet deeply connected to something vast and eternal. You realize that Earth is not isolated, but part of a greater cosmic system, and that the lights above are a bridge between our world and the mysteries of the universe. As you leave Norway, the memory of the aurora lingers. Long after the colors have faded, you carry with you the stillness of the Arctic night, the cold air on your face, and the awe of witnessing one of nature's greatest masterpieces. The Northern Lights are more than a sight, they are an experience, a story etched into your heart, and a reminder that the world still holds wonders that defy imagination. In Norway's gallery of breathtaking treasures, the Northern Lights stand as the final masterpiece, a living painting in the sky, a dance of energy and light, and an eternal invitation to look upward and believe in magic. Thanks for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed exploring Prague as much as I enjoyed guiding you through it. If you found this travel guide helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more beautiful destinations from around the world. Got a favorite spot in Prague? Drop it in the comments, I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, safe travels and see you in the next video.